Hi, I'm Alma Asinobi. I'm a storyteller, and this is how tech changed my life. So my journey in tech from day one didn't exactly start in tech. It started in content creation, basically as a social media content creator. Sometime in 2015, I started a blog. So I started that 2015, and the day that I set up the blog, my roommate saw me and said, my roommate don't turn leader KGO. And I shut it down. I didn't write a single article on that blog up until 2018. At this point, I had 1,800 followers on Instagram. I started to take Instagram very seriously, curating my feed and all of that. And by January of 2020, I had 2,400 followers. So roughly about 600 increase. I was just relentless in that. I was learning all of the new stuff, presets, editing, content curation, working with brands and all of that. I started to make these short videos inspired by the opening montage of Blackish, the famous TV series. And then a lot of people liked it. It drove traction and my page started to grow. And so I started to build community, I started to build a personal brand around that, and then I found my tribe. And so I knew I wanted this to translate into something I could earn from. My friend Fermi Ajetomobi told me that, oh, hey, coincidentally, they're hiring at Cowrywise, and I should send my CV and all of that. The interviews were scheduled for tomorrow. So I have like 2 hours to send everything in and then copy the HR or copy him in the email and all of that. And so I sent everything. I sent the application, and yeah, I had a couple of interviews. I had a couple of tests and screening and all of that. Okay, so I've never said this before anywhere on the internet, and the first time I applied to Cowrywise, I didn't get in. I wouldn't say the first time because it eventually worked out, but yeah, I sent in my application and everything. I got to the final round of the interview. We're just 3, and I didn't get it. I got a rejection letter just before I went back to Port Harcourt, and I just decided that, yeah, well, I mean, I'll just deal with it, and then I'll just live in Port Harcourt with my parents until I find something better. A few days into the new year, I got a message from the HR at Cowrywise, and he was like, hey, we love your work. We saw, we kept your CV and all of that from the last process, and although the role that you applied for at the time was not very well suited for your skills, now we're looking for a content marketer. We're looking for someone to, major content creation, writing, and all of that. And we think you're a better fit. So if you're still up, I would like to have you. So I was like, okay. And then that was the first role that I had outside after school, after my MSc, that is. And yeah, I moved to Lagos, and then I started working at Cowrywise. Storytelling for startups in general, I think, would be the essence and should be the focus of every startup. Because if you don't own the narrative, everyone will decide what your startup is and what it stands for, and then spread the message for you. So it's important that you tell the story. It's important that you own the narrative. It's important that you put things together and let people know what to call you. And that's the essence. If not, you'll be outsourcing your brand message, and that's not cool. I would say it's attention to detail and being able to see beyond the surface. So what seems like a single unconnected event, when you think about it relative to every other thing that has happened, is happening, and could happen, you can tell a story. You can tell a whole compelling story. And if you do not see beyond what everyone is saying, if you don't see beyond the surface level, like, oh, it's just one random man walking on the street, it could be like it could be a whole lot bigger than that. I tell stories and I'm like, oh my God, oh, you write simple things in very like compelling ways, in very deep ways, just because I make a big deal out of simple things. So yeah, if you can make a big deal out of simple things, that's a great skill to have. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Everything else you can learn. You should start with the skills that you already have. Some people want to get into tech, but then they think they have to go and learn how to code. They have to go and learn like some like extra things. And you don't really need that. I think tech has expanded to a place where everyone is welcome. If you have this particular skill that people have complimented you on, you find that you just do it easily, you find that you do it well, find a way to see how it can translate. Personally, I feel like people wait till they have like all the qualifications, like 5 years experience. For myself, when I got into Cowrywise, I didn't have any experience in tech, technically, right? I hadn't worked with any startup before then. But because I had written on my blog, I had written on social media, the CEO then actually, the reason they called me back, I found out later, that was that the CEO saw my Instagram, my personal Instagram, and saw a carousel that I made, a story that I wrote on the day that my phone fell and broke, and that was it. I didn't get to like do like countless rounds of interviews again and again. So I think if you're able to hone your skills, the skills that you already have, and you position yourself, you can very easily get into tech. So everybody thinks tech money is blood money. I think I snuck my way into the ecosystem, and my hack would be to build network. If you dropped out of school, I mean, right now, Google, IBM, Amazon, Apple, I think Netflix too, they have completely removed like the educational qualification part, like your BSc. They don't care what you studied, what your score was, what your grade point average was. Nobody cares about that. So if you can sneak your way into the ecosystem, please do. And I think a major way to do this would be through building a network. Join communities. There are lots of communities on Twitter, on Instagram, LinkedIn. Sneak into people's DMs. Ask them, like talk to them, position yourself, and then I'm sure you find a way. It's not a hustle out here, but then the best man wins. I remember very vividly the first time a brand reached out to me and said, oh, they wanted me to make one of those videos for them. I charged them 5,000 naira. And it was supposed to be a 1-minute video. I charged them 5,000 naira. Yes, in 2020. Yeah, you heard me right. 5,000 naira. And guess what? This is actually not the bad part. I found out that the brand was not Nigerian. So 5,000 naira in their currency was like pimp of money. So I ended up, just not doing it at all, because I couldn't go back to retract and say, oh, my pricing, like I was just panicking, and I just said, I'm not doing it again, and then I left. I don't know if there's anything that would not exist if I was not in the tech ecosystem, but I think if anyone thinks of storytelling, they will think of me. At a point in this entire era where things like people painting and people taking pictures and all of that was seen as them being unemployed, right? Everyone is like, oh, our parents were like, drop the camera, go to school, do da. But then, have you heard of NFTs? Have you seen the number? Have you seen the number of people who are cashing out? Have you seen the amount of money people are making from those things that were like, crazy? It's crazy art. Why are you doing art when you can just go and study to be a doctor? I'm going to study to be a doctor for like 7 years and come out and make. I'm sorry, I can't be poor in tech. And as long as I work in tech, as long as my eyes have been open to what my skills can bring to the table, I would never be poor. A lot of times people say, oh, I'm working in tech because I want to change the world. But then you're not. I mean, the world is bigger than people who have Twitter and who have everybody's like chat, 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 tweet this, tweet that, Instagram, Snapchat, selfies, and all of that. There's some people whose realities are not as glamorous as ours, and so this work has been really rewarding because I get to be a part of the stories that are real, raw human stories and tell these stories in a way that attracts people who are on the other side of the spectrum, people who have Twitter and Ethereum and Bitcoin and all of this tech money. These stories have helped connect these people to the people who need them the most. And I think this is the most rewarding work of my life so far. And it hasn't been so long, so I'm really hopeful for where this is going. I hope to tell more and more stories of these children, underprivileged children, to bring them connections to opportunities.